Hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the English Pod community. I'm really glad you're here, especially right now, in the quiet of the evening. Tonight's episode is a little different. It's not about intense grammar drills or long study sessions. It's about something more peaceful, and honestly, more powerful. We're going to talk about your night routine, not just your bedtime rituals, like brushing your teeth or setting your alarm, but how you can gently, calmly, and effectively improve your English right before sleep. You see, some of my biggest fluency breakthroughs didn't come from classrooms or textbooks. They came from the moments just before my head hit the pillow. When the world was quiet, my mind was soft, and I gave myself permission to slow down and just listen. So in this episode, I'll guide you through my own nightly habits, the simple things I do before bed that helped me think in English, speak more clearly, and feel more confident without even trying so hard. This isn't about pressure. It's about practice, gentle, consistent, and powerful. Whether you're already in bed, sipping tea, or just winding down, let this be your time to relax and grow. Ready? Let's begin. You know, we often talk about the best time to learn English. Some say mornings are the most productive. Others swear by afternoon focus sessions. But let me ask you this. Have you ever tried learning right before bed? Let me take you back to a little discovery I made. I remember one evening. I was tired, my day was busy, and I didn't have the energy to study grammar or take notes. So I just lay down in bed, put on my headphones, and listened to a short English podcast. Nothing too hard, just two people chatting about their weekend. No pressure, no expectations, just listening. And the next morning, I remembered it, clearly. Not just the words, but the intonation, the expressions, the feeling. It stuck. That's when I realized nighttime practice is different, and I didn't just feel it. I found out there's real brain science behind it. You see, when we sleep, our brains don't shut off. They process. They sort through the information we experience during the day, and they decide what to keep, what to throw out, and what to strengthen. It's called memory consolidation, and it's a huge part of how we learn language. And guess what? Studies have shown that if you practice something right before sleep, especially a language, your brain has a better chance of storing it long term. You're literally feeding your memory right before it goes to work, while you're asleep. That's powerful, right? And here's the best part. It doesn't need to be stressful. It's not about doing a 1-hour grammar session at 10 p.m. It's about connection, emotion, calm repetition. You can listen to a short dialogue, read a paragraph from a story you like, watch a scene from a series, and repeat 1 or 2 lines aloud. Or, my personal favorite, think in English about your day. Just whisper to yourself, "Today I woke up late. I had coffee. I called my friend." Simple thoughts, soft language, no translation. Because nighttime isn't for perfection. It's for peace. It's when your mind is quiet. And that's when language really starts to settle in. So if you've been struggling to remember vocabulary or build fluency, try this. Shift your most emotional, meaningful practice to the evening. Let English be the last thing you hear, think, or say before sleep. And tomorrow morning, see what sticks. You know, not long ago, my nights looked completely different, and not in a way I'm proud of. I'd finish dinner, maybe clean up a bit, then tell myself, "Tonight I'll practice English." Maybe listen to something, maybe read a few pages. But you already know what happened next. I'd lie on my bed, phone in hand, and just start scrolling. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, videos I didn't even care about. 10 seconds here, 15 seconds there, and then I'd fall into this endless cycle of just one more. It felt like relaxation, but it wasn't. It was numbing. And by the time I looked at the clock, it was 1 a.m. No English practice, no reading, no learning, just guilt. I'd think to myself, I wasted another night. And that guilt? It doesn't help you sleep better. In fact, it made me anxious. I'd fall asleep with my brain buzzing, overstimulated from all the random content. Then I'd wake up the next morning, already behind, already disappointed in myself, and worse, still stuck in the same spot with my English. Maybe that sounds familiar. Maybe your nights are filled with those same distractions, the kind that look relaxing on the outside but leave you feeling empty inside. Let me tell you something I wish someone told me earlier. You don't need a perfect night routine. You just need a better one. You don't have to spend an hour studying grammar. You don't have to write essays before bed. But if you want to think in English, if you want to wake up feeling one step closer to fluency, then your night needs to include just one thing: intention. A podcast episode, 5 new phrases, whispering your thoughts in English while brushing your teeth. It can be simple, but it has to be yours. Something that feeds your goal, instead of just feeding the algorithm. Because here's the truth. Nighttime is the best time to slow down, focus inward, and grow. Even just a little. So if you've been stuck in old night habits that don't serve your fluency, you're not alone. But the good news is, that can change tonight. And in the next chapter, I'll show you exactly how I made that shift, and how you can do it too. Stick with me. Let's rebuild your night. One calm, powerful, English-filled step at a time. There was a time when I saw bedtime as the end of everything. The end of the day. The end of my energy. The end of any chance to do something productive. But here's the mindset shift that changed my fluency journey forever. What if bedtime wasn't the end, but the beginning of something powerful? Let me explain. You see, during the day, everything moves fast. You're working, studying, running around. Your brain is constantly on alert. But at night, there's a calm, a softness. And in that softness, you have something incredibly valuable. Focus. Not the intense, stressful kind of focus, but a quiet, gentle focus. The kind where your mind is open, calm, ready to absorb. I started treating bedtime like a ritual, not just for sleep, but for reflection and slow growth. I'd ask myself, what's one thing I learned today in English? What's one phrase I heard that I want to remember? And instead of judging myself for what I didn't do, I started celebrating the tiny steps I did take. One word remembered. One sentence I understood without translating. One new expression I used in a message. That mindset, from pressure to progress, changed how I saw myself as a learner. I stopped saying, I didn't study enough today, and started saying, I connected with English today, even if just for a moment. And that's where the magic is. When your night becomes a space for gentle English practice, without pressure, without shame, you start falling asleep not with guilt, but with growth. You begin to trust your process. You start to feel fluent not just in your words, but in your mindset. So if your nights have felt like wasted time or mental noise, take a deep breath. Because tonight, you can choose to shift. Shift from stress to soft focus. Shift from overthinking to gentle reflection. Shift from, I didn't do enough, to, I'm growing little by little. Bedtime is no longer just about closing your eyes. It's about opening your mind to a new, peaceful way of learning. And next, I'll walk you through exactly what my night routine looks like, the simple steps, the small actions, and how you can make it your own. Let's go deeper. One of the most peaceful, powerful habits I discovered on my English journey happened in complete darkness. No books, no screen, no pressure to study, just me, lying in bed, eyes closed, and listening. It became a ritual, my night language bath. I'd turn off the lights, put in my earphones, and play a podcast in English. Not a textbook-style lesson, something real. A conversation between two native speakers. A story. A gentle voice. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I wasn't trying to. I wasn't translating. I was just listening. Listening to the rhythm, to the tone, to the rise and fall of natural speech. And something amazing happened. Because my brain wasn't working so hard. It started to relax, and in that relaxation, it started to learn. I remember one night, I was listening to a podcast where someone said, I was just about to head out, but then it started pouring. Simple sentence. But I suddenly got it. Without thinking, without translating. I was just about to head out. It clicked. I imagined it. I felt the meaning, and I smiled, in the dark, because I knew my brain was picking it up, not through pressure, not through effort, but through exposure. That's what listening in the dark gave me. A way to absorb English. Naturally, gently, like how a baby learns. Through sound, repetition, emotion. So if you're lying in bed tonight, feeling tired but still wishing you could learn something, try this. Choose a short English podcast. Lie back. Close your eyes. Don't try to understand every word. Just listen. Feel it. Let the language wash over you like soft waves. Because even when you think you're just relaxing, your brain is working. And those quiet moments, they often lead to the biggest breakthroughs. This isn't about forcing fluency. It's about allowing it. So tonight, listen. Not to study, but to feel. Not to memorize, but to connect. Your fluency journey doesn't need to end when the day ends. Sometimes, it begins in the dark. Let me tell you something simple that completely changed how I speak English. I call it the one phrase a night trick. Just one phrase. Every night. That's it. I used to think I needed to learn 10 new words a day. Or 50. Guess what happened? I forgot almost all of them. But when I focused on one powerful phrase and repeated it until it became part of my thinking, it stayed with me. Forever. For example, one night I chose the phrase, "It's up to you." I whispered it to myself a few times. I thought about when I might use it. Someone asks, "Where do you want to go for dinner?" I could say, "It's up to you." I imagined that conversation. I pictured the moment, and I said it again. It's up to you. Not studying it, owning it. Another night I picked, "Let me think." I practiced saying it with the right tone, slow, thoughtful. Let me think. Suddenly, in real life, when someone asked me something, that phrase just popped out. Not forced, not translated, natural. Because I didn't just know it, I had lived with it, in my mind, the night before. Here's how you can try it. Tonight, pick one phrase. Not a complicated sentence, just something real, something native speakers say. Say it out loud 3 times. Whisper it to yourself as you brush your teeth. Use it in your thoughts as you fall asleep. It sounds small, but over 30 nights, that's 30 powerful, fluent phrases in your pocket. Remember, you don't need more vocabulary. You need active vocabulary. The kind your brain knows so well it doesn't have to think. So try it tonight. Choose one phrase. Repeat it. Feel it. Let it live in your thoughts. That's how fluency grows. One phrase at a time. One of the most powerful bedtime habits I've ever built, and I still do it today, is journaling. Not long essays, not perfect grammar, just a few sentences, 3 to 5 lines, in English. Before I sleep, I ask myself something simple. What did I do today? Or, what am I grateful for? And then I write. Sometimes I write, today I was tired, but I finished my English practice. Or, I'm grateful I had a good conversation with a friend. That's it. No pressure, no grades, just me, expressing my day in English. Why does this work so well? Because writing helps your brain organize your thoughts. You practice sentence structure, past tense, connectors like but, because, so, and you reflect on your life through English. It becomes personal, meaningful. And that's when English really starts to grow, when it's connected to your emotions, your experiences. You can even take it further. Try writing one sentence with a new phrase you learned. Or end your journal with something positive like, tomorrow, I'll speak with more confidence. It's like planting seeds of fluency in your sleep. And here's the best part. This habit helps you relax. It clears your mind. Instead of scrolling on your phone or worrying, you're grounding yourself with gentle focus in your second language. So tonight, before you sleep, grab a notebook or even open a note on your phone. Write just a few sentences. Don't worry about mistakes. Just write from your heart, in English. Let your last thoughts of the day bring you one step closer to fluency. Let me tell you a little trick that changed how I remember words. And honestly, it's kind of fun. It's called visual vocabulary practice. And no, it's not about reading definitions or flipping flashcards. It's about seeing the word and feeling it. Here's what I mean. Let's take the word comfortable. Don't just say it. Picture it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your bed, your favorite blanket, that moment when you lie down after a long day and your body relaxes completely. That's comfortable. Now tell me, did you translate that word into your native language just now? Probably not. You felt it. That's what makes this so powerful. When you connect a word to a real-life image or feeling, your brain remembers it much faster and more naturally. It becomes part of your world, not just something you study. You can try this with anything. Delicious. Picture your favorite food. Nervous. Imagine standing in front of a big crowd. Excited. Think about the last time you got good news. See it, feel it, use it. This is how native speakers build their vocabulary, not through translation, but through real associations. So tonight, pick one word, just one. Close your eyes, visualize it, make it come alive in your mind, and then use it in a sentence, in your journal, or in a thought. That's how you live in English, one visual word at a time. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you, reading at night. But not just any kind of reading. I'm talking about reading with intention. You see, I used to scroll random posts or skim grammar explanations before bed, and it never stuck. It felt like more noise in my head, not calm or helpful. But when I shifted to reading one short story or a paragraph of calm, meaningful English, everything changed. I wasn't just reading for grammar or vocabulary. I was reading to feel the language. I'd light a soft lamp, sit quietly, and choose something gentle. A short blog post, a slice of a novel, or even an inspirational quote. Sometimes I'd whisper the words aloud, slowly, letting each sentence roll off my tongue, tasting the rhythm of English. Not rushing, not analyzing, just connecting. And here's the magic. When you read with that kind of intention, when you slow down and really feel the meaning, your brain absorbs it deeper. The structures, the phrases, the tone, they all start becoming part of how you think. So here's your tip for tonight. Skip the grammar book. Instead, pick one small piece of calming English. Read it slowly, maybe twice, and let the language settle into you, like a quiet conversation before sleep. It's not about volume, it's about presence. And that is how you build fluency from the inside out. Let's talk about one of the most calming and surprisingly effective ways to practice speaking English at night. It's something I've never seen in a textbook, but it completely changed the way I spoke. Whispering. Yes, whispering. I know. It sounds simple, maybe even a little silly. But let me tell you how this became one of my favorite nighttime fluency habits. There was a time when I was too nervous to speak English out loud, even alone. I'd open my mouth to practice and then, nothing. My brain would freeze, my confidence would drop, and I'd tell myself, maybe tomorrow. But then one night, I was lying in bed, thinking about my day, and I whispered something, just a small sentence. I'm tired, but I learned something today. And then I whispered another. Tomorrow I'll try again. And suddenly, it felt safe. No pressure. No one listening. Just me. Practicing. Quietly. Calmly. And guess what? It felt real. Like I was thinking in English and speaking in English at the same time. That became my little nighttime ritual. I'd whisper 3 or 4 sentences to myself, like, today was a long day, but I'm okay. I watched an English video, and I understood more than I thought. I'm proud of myself. Some nights I'd even plan for tomorrow. In the morning I'll write in English. I'll practice for 10 minutes after breakfast. I'm improving, slowly but surely. And the best part? Whispering helped me connect my thoughts to English without fear. You're not worried about grammar when you whisper. You're not correcting yourself. You're not thinking, what if I make a mistake? You're just flowing, naturally, softly, like the language is part of you. So if you've ever felt too nervous to speak, or you've been waiting until your grammar is perfect, try this instead. Tonight, when the world is quiet, whisper in English. Talk about your day. Talk about how you feel. Say something kind to yourself. You'll be amazed how powerful it is. Even 5 minutes of whispering before bed can train your brain to think in English more fluently. And most importantly, more gently. Because fluency doesn't start with shouting or speaking perfectly. It starts with a whisper. With you. Right here. Right now. Give it a try tonight. Just whisper a few words and listen to your own English, becoming stronger, softer, and more natural every night. Now let's talk about something truly powerful, not just for your English, but for your heart, your mind, and your peace. Gratitude. Every night before you sleep, I want you to try one small habit that changed everything for me. Say 3 things you're grateful for, in English. That's it. It doesn't need to be big or deep. It just needs to be real. I'm grateful for my warm bed. I'm thankful I had time to practice English today. I'm happy I spoke with a friend. Why does this help? Because it connects your feelings to English. It connects your heart to your words. And when you feel something, your brain remembers it better. It's not about grammar. It's not about vocabulary. It's about building a relationship with the language, a calm, personal one. And here's the magic part. Gratitude brings peace. When you speak words of thanks, even just 3 sentences, your mind softens, your breathing slows, And your brain, just before sleep, links English with calm, with comfort, with meaning. This is how fluency becomes part of your life, not just your study plan. So tonight, when you're lying in bed, ask yourself, what made me smile today? What gave me a little peace? What moment, even a small one, felt good? And then say it in English. Whisper it if you want. Write it if you prefer, but say it. Because when you end your day in gratitude, in English, you start to live the language, not just learn it. And that is fluency. Let's move into one of the most powerful night habits I've ever used. And honestly, it made me a better speaker without needing any new material. It's called Review One Conversation. Just one. Here's how it works. As you're lying in bed, close your eyes and bring to mind a conversation you had that day, or even one you wish you'd had. It could be with a friend, a colleague, a stranger. Or maybe it's the one you wanted to have but didn't because you weren't confident enough. Now ask yourself, what did I say? And more importantly, what could I have said better? Take your time. Replay the scene in your mind. Maybe you ordered coffee and simply said, latte. But later you think, wait, I could have said, hi, can I have a latte with almond milk, please? Maybe someone asked you how your day was, and you froze. Now you can practice. It's been a bit busy, but I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. This is your moment to go back, without pressure, and improve that interaction in English. You're not judging yourself. You're not getting frustrated. You're learning, quietly, calmly, just you and your mind. And if you didn't have any conversations today, no worries. Invent one. Imagine meeting someone on the street, in a store, at the airport. What would they say? What would you say back? These mental rehearsals are powerful because your brain can't always tell the difference between something imagined and something real. So when you review or replay a conversation in English, you're training your fluency. You're building speed. You're creating confidence, all from the comfort of your pillow. And the best part? This habit takes only 5 minutes. No pen, no paper, no app, just reflection, intention, and a little imagination. So tonight, right before you drift off, hit play in your mind, review one conversation, and watch how much more natural your English starts to feel. Now, let's talk about something really important, especially if you've ever said this to yourself. There's just too much to learn. I don't know where to start. I'm not doing enough. Sound familiar? I've been there too. I used to lie in bed, scrolling through language apps, watching one more video, listening to one more podcast, thinking, maybe this will help me catch up. But what I didn't realize was, I was overwhelming myself. Too much input, too much pressure, too many rules. And guess what? My brain didn't absorb anything. It was just noise. So here's the shift. Don't try to learn everything. At night, your goal isn't to master grammar or memorize 50 words. Your goal is peace, calm, focused practice. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Think about that. When you go slowly and gently, you actually move faster over time. Why? Because your brain remembers better when it's relaxed, not rushed. So let's reframe your night routine. You don't need an hour. You don't need to finish a course. You just need 10 to 15 minutes. 10 quiet minutes of English journaling. One short story before bed. A voice note. A whispered sentence. Or even just a phrase you repeat in your mind. That's enough. Because consistency is more powerful than intensity. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the pressure. Fluency doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing just enough, every day, in a way that feels gentle and sustainable. So tonight, give yourself permission to go slow, and trust that slow, calm practice will take you further than you ever thought possible. So, after 30 nights of this quiet, gentle practice, what happened? Honestly, I didn't expect much. I wasn't studying hard. I wasn't cramming. I was just doing small things, listening, writing, whispering, reflecting, for 10 or 15 minutes before bed. But something shifted. The first thing I noticed, I started waking up with English still in my head. I'd be brushing my teeth in the morning and thinking, what should I do today? Not in my native language, but in English. It was weird at first, and beautiful. Then came something even more surprising. I had my first dream in English. It wasn't a big dramatic story, just a short moment. I was talking to someone in a cafe, ordering coffee, all in English. I woke up smiling, because for the first time ever, I realized English wasn't just something I studied. It was becoming part of me. And then, little by little, I noticed I was replying faster in conversations, without translating in my head. My journal entries became smoother. I wasn't stopping to check grammar every second. I even started using expressions I didn't remember studying. Words I had heard in a podcast at night just came out naturally when I spoke the next day. That's when I knew those small, quiet moments, they were working. And that's why I want to say this to you. You don't need to change your whole life. You don't need 100 new lessons. You just need a calm 10 minutes every night, a moment to be present with the language, to listen, to think, to write, softly. And if you do this, not for 30 hours, but for 30 nights, you'll feel the change. So I invite you, start tonight. You don't need motivation. Just sit with the language and let it grow inside you, quietly, gently, fluently. Before we say goodnight, I've got a simple but powerful challenge for you. Tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, but tonight, I want you to choose just 3 of the habits we talked about in this episode. You don't need to do them all perfectly. You don't even need to do them for long. Just pick 3 that feel right for you, and do them gently. Maybe you'll lie down and listen to a short podcast, eyes closed, no pressure, just listening. Maybe you'll whisper a few sentences to yourself. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm learning more every day. Or maybe you'll open your notebook and write 3 lines in English about your day. It doesn't matter what you choose. What matters is that you show up for yourself. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, that's enough. Because here's the truth. Fluency isn't built in the classroom. It's built in moments like this, quiet, calm, and consistent. It's built when no one's watching, when you're kind to yourself, when you keep going, even if it's slow. So tonight, show up for your future self, for your fluency. And here's a little bonus. After your routine, I want you to either write it down in your journal or share it in the comments. Tell me what you practiced tonight. Let's keep each other motivated. Let's grow together. And if you enjoyed this episode, if it made you feel a little more confident, a little more inspired, please hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone else who's learning, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear about your night routine. Let's make English a part of our lives, not just during study hours, but in peaceful, meaningful moments. This is your language now. You belong in it. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next episode.